Hey, what's going on, Vet Hustle Nation, and welcome to this week's Vet Hustle Show. This show is amazing because we have Mr. Jim MIngey from veteranbusinessservices.us on the show with us today. And Jim is one of the most knowledgeable individuals that I know when it comes to helping veterans not only start and launch a business, but he knows of a lot of different types of programs that are available to veterans looking to start a business. So if you have any sort of questions when it comes to actually building, growing, and expanding your current veteran business, Jim is a great resource for you. And at the end of the show, he's going to give you his contact information. So if you have any questions, he may be a great go-to resource. Now, the challenge with this show is we had a lot of technical difficulties and we did not get the recording from Jim's side, the video. We do have the audio recording. So I've patched this week's episode together. So don't worry about the production. Worry about the content that's provided within inside of this episode. Grab a pen and paper, take some notes, because Mr. Jim MIngey is going to talk about VOC Rehab and specifically the self-employment track, which is the Track 3 program, a part of the VOC Rehab program. So you're going to love it. So take notes, sit back, relax. We're going to dive into this for about 20 to 30 minutes. In the beginning, we did not get it recorded. Jim introduces himself, gives a basic introduction to what we're talking about, which is VOC Rehab and utilizing the VOC Rehab for self-employment purposes. So sit back and enjoy, and you have a great day. Take care.
And they could pay $25,000 to put somebody in business, help them survive from that, and hire people in the economy. And at the same time, help a service-disabled veteran. So there's a win-win-win there if they go in. Now, so I guess the key here, if you're trying to use that program, is first get a strategy. Because if you think about it and you think the person I'm going to talk to there may not know as much about business that I do. So how do I convey to them that I really want to, get into business? A lot of veterans assume that they are already very, very knowledgeable about business, and they go in to sell them on the viability of their business plan, which is fine, and that's probably typical. But what they really should be doing is selling the counselor on the idea that's what they want to do with their life. Because that's the goal of vocational rehab, is to help a veteran get into a direction that they really believe is and can be passionate about. And so if not everybody's an entrepreneur, but if you are an entrepreneur, this is just a tool. It's not the only tool, but it's a way how you can step yourself up, especially startup businesses that need, a lot of people will talk about, getting a mentor from a SCORE counselor,
right,
or going to a small business development center, or trying to get resources that the government is providing they're good resources. Like they have a thing called Boots to Business.
Yeah,
take you through a course that's online, and it'll give you general instruction as what happens when you build a business plan or the entrepreneur. But these are not specifically tailored to your particular business. Now, if you can use this VOC Rehab to say, listen, I think they're all great resources there, and I want them, but I need a strategy to piece them all together, both with government resources and with private resources.
Right.
I may need. I'll give you a perfect example. Talked to a combat vet last week who wanted to develop a consulting business. What did he want to do? He wanted to help other veterans deal with PTSD, but he wanted to do it as a business. He didn't want to do it as a, working for a nonprofit or, working for the government. Yeah. And he figured out, because he was pretty determined, he figured out he could get himself licensed as a peer-to-peer counselor. He could develop a consulting business where he could schedule appointments and bill and use the latest HIPAA requirements. And he put this whole plan together under VOC Rehab. Right. So
he did went and seen his counselor, and he got approved for that.
Yes, he did. So now, because a lot of times people, especially combat veterans, they have a stigma. So people think, well, he's got PTSD, he might not be able to do a business, right?
Man, I'm telling you that's what happened to me, Jim.
Okay, well, that's an irony, right?
Yeah.
Brian, I know you, Brian. You're a real bright guy, and you're very enthusiastic, and you've taken all the steps you got to take. But people can look at you and say, hey, this guy, he might go postal on us. Who knows?
Man, I kid you not, Jim. I have the letter. I received a letter probably about a month and a half, 2 months ago, about a month after I seen my VOC Rehab counselor. And the letter said, we cannot help Brian at this time because we don't see him fit to work or something like that. It was crazy. I was like, I can't believe this. Some vets would take this seriously personal.
Right. And when it happens there, or another problem with that is sometimes they take the path of least resistance. And that would be sending you to say, well, what happened? Go to the SBA. The SBA provides loans. Well, actually, the SBA doesn't provide loans. They provide guarantees for loans. And they send you to a bank who makes that loan and gets the guarantee. But most banks don't like to do startups. So they say, thank you for your service. But they say, you don't have any experience or you don't have any equity, et cetera. And I brought this example up not to be harsh on anybody, but that ends up being a blind alley. So you go over to a bank that doesn't do a startup loan, and they don't want to be offensive to the veteran.
Totally.
So they listen to your story and they say, well, maybe later on or maybe this, and they deal with you within the platform there. So you have to, if you know that ahead of time, and you can say, okay, what reaction, or you went in and you saw a VOC rehab counselor, but that rehab counselor didn't understand that entrepreneurs, especially veteran entrepreneurs that have combat issues, etc., can actually be very excellent because it's a natural flow for them. So getting back to my comment before, you need to have a strategy when you go into that first meeting. Yes, you got to be 20%. Yes, you can go online at their what's it called, VON app, and you can make an application.
Yeah.
But before you go into that meeting, you have to say, here's what I want to myself. I need to go get self-employment. And to get that, I have to point out certain things. Well, one thing that you can point out is that this is not it's not their choice. It's your choice. You can say, hey, I've thought through self-employment, which will help you in your comment. You say, I thought this through and I really want to do this. I know it's not guaranteed that I'll be successful, but no entrepreneur is guaranteed that. But at least I deserve to get a shot here. Now, this is not, a case-by-case basis. It's in the law. There is a $25,000 benefit available for Category 2 self-employment VOC rehab clients.
And to be clear, you need to have at least be 20% service connected, right?
That's correct. Yeah. So you have to be that. And go ahead.
And then applying at VON app, which people can just do in the e-benefits account.
That's right. They just do it, and then they get the application, and you have to, I believe, upload some information proving that you have the disability rating.
Yeah.
And they review it, and they call you in for an interview.
And then step number 3, Jim, would be to have an outline and a plan prior to actually meeting with the counselor.
Yeah, but not necessarily just think in terms of a business. You need to basically say, yes, I do want to get into business, and here's the reason I do. I may have tried education. I may have tried this sort of thing. I need self-employment. That's my path to the future. That's the main path for me. So, yeah. And then you have to ask that, and it comes down to having a working relationship with your counselor, and that counselor has to champion you. They can't just say, hey, I don't understand this, so I'm not going to support you. And when that happens, unfortunately, a lot of veterans get frustrated and angry. They get a letter maybe that they didn't understand, that made a comment like you say, well, that's not me. That's I'm upset with that. But getting upset doesn't get you into business. What it is you have to develop a strategy that says, here's generally what I have in mind. I want to be a web developer, or I want to be a social media expert. And I don't know how all those parts fit together, but I know I have the talent to do it, and I know I can reach out to relationships, and I can develop a strategy around matching federal resources with private resources and sell yourself. That counselor's the first one you have to sell yourself to. Not that you have something that's going to make $1 million, that you have to sell yourself that you have the potential to be successful as an entrepreneur. And if you can do that, then you can take it to the next level. Now, this is not an easy thing to do with them, but it is, I think, a really great way, great way to get into business, because a lot of entrepreneurs, they fly by the seat of their pants. And I know I did. I'm an older guy, but that's the way you had to do it.
Right.
This world is all about teams, putting teams together of people to support your business. Even a startup little business. Right now, if everything is not everything, but internet related, where you're creating a business around the internet. Well, you have to have a technology plan. You have to have skill sets in doing social media. You have to be able to use standard business software. All these sort of things, and you need them from the get-go.
Yeah.
You don't have those. These are like little mini training courses. So you need training on how to do social media, on how that social media should be applied to your particular business.
Yep.
And the normal business functions of accounting and personnel, etc. If you haven't done those before, it's not as easy as just buying a program. You can't. You really need to know what the program is for, how it might apply to your particular business.
Right.
And so those sort of things you can put a holistic strategy around inside of vocational rehab, because that's their goal. Their goal is to help you become rehabilitated to go on with your primary life goal. So they have some resources at their disposal, and you need to have somebody ahead of time lay this out to you and say, here's the way you should approach them. And assuming you do, then you're into the program. I tell people, don't get angry. A lot of veterans can get angry. I've gotten angry myself. Don't get angry. These people are really there to help you. They want to help you.
Yes.
You need to help them help you.
Right.
It really comes down to that. And there are other people like yourself who has been through some of this stuff that can go in and say, here, I will help you do this yourself. So, and there's other veterans, like, as far as I'm concerned, any combat veteran can call me 24/7. And
yeah, and that is true, because I've contacted you several times.
And it's a joy of my life trying to help people. This is the only club that they let me in, so I don't want to get kicked out. I got to help my brothers here. Anyway, so getting back to the VOC Rehab, there's real resources there. There's people have done this. They've gone. Now it's not that many, because they need to have more training of their counselors. They need more help from people like us to get it through. But once it happens, it becomes shorter and easier to do each time. So my experience, I went in and went through it. I'm a graduate. And so I know how the system works. I know other people that I've helped or am helping to get through it. And whether or not that's a business or not doesn't matter. But the government has resources to pay for this. And let me make some other comments about it, though. They do not pay for things like, so let's say you wanted to, I deal in franchises and help people get into franchising.
Yeah.
They do not pay franchising fees. But they would pay training associated with the franchise. Okay. Or if you have let's say you have a billing or a software need, they'll pay license fees so that you can get licensing and training for that particular software. They'll pay for a consultant for you to give you comprehensive training in a holistic fashion, like we discussed.
Does it need to be a consultant that's like through the government or the VA or SBA?
No, these would be private. They'll of course refer you to the government's free resources, but most of those resources do not specifically actually do one-on-one help you build your strategy and business plan. They don't customize it to you. They basically say, here's the resources. And you may go score great mentors, but you may find that person has a narrow knowledge base. And if you need a general knowledge base, then you're going to be going down a track that may not fulfill the goals of your particular plan.
Yeah.
So the idea of getting general resources and emphasizing that you need to get a comprehensive approach to that, which is allowable under the program. It basically says, even the category 2 says you are entitled to get comprehensive training for your particular business here. Comprehensive. Now that can be tailored to your particular business. It's between you and your counselor to say, hey, I need this, this, and this. It comes under the scope of the program. Will you support that? Now you're going to have to justify it to the counselor, but if it's really connected with your business and it provides you value added to either launch or get you successful in business, it's eligible. Okay.
What about the counselor told me, she said, Brian, we don't help with anything self-employment. She goes, I mean, we can send you to the SBA. They've got some resources for you there. That's where we're going to recommend, but we don't help with any of that or equipment or anything like that. But it's what's funny about it is I know other vets, including yourself, even other vets, my generation, that have been successful through it. I mean, I know one guy who's had like several $1,000s in equipment. I think up to like $100,000 in equipment that has been purchased for him for his business, including the 25 grand. This is what this vet has done.
Yeah, there's an evolution to this program. The law actually that specifies the 25,000 was created or was put on the books in 2010. And a lot of the counselors don't know, or they look at their internal regulations or not regulations, procedures, I guess. They don't know that the $25,000 is actually written in law. It is presented as though it's a judgment call on every particular case. So if you're working out of Buffalo and you're helping a veteran and your management says, yes, we want to support self-employment, you get a different attitude from that person. Whereas if you're working in some other area, it might be, these are too difficult and really we want you to without saying it, discourage you from encouraging a veteran to go down this route. There's a lot of flexibility in there. I think what happened before, and the reason it's a lot tighter than people would like, is that I think there was some abuse in the program early on where people were getting resources, but they weren't using them properly. So the natural evolution is, well, we don't want people to do that. We don't want people scamming the system. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to tighten it down. But when they tighten it, sometimes they tighten it so much that they say, we don't do that anymore. Well, in this particular case, it's written into the law that they have to do it. It's not, if you are capable of going and becoming an entrepreneur or self-employed, that's part of your benefit. You're supposed to at least get the opportunity to do that. So yeah, the first step is that you go to that Vaughn app, you make the application, and then you look for some people, like you know some other people, I know some people. The thing that I emphasize the most is to have that veteran talk to somebody who's gone through that program before. Or even in your particular case, you got shut down. And if you look back, you can say, well, there's some other ways I could have approached this.
Oh, most definitely, yeah. I'm not like resentful over it or anything. I'll still keep working at it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, you're not. That's another. That you are eligible for this. There's 12 years from the time you get out of the service. You're eligible for 12 years to apply to VOC Rehab. And you may somebody has been affected by PTSD, and they go in and they go back to school, but they're a fish out of water in there. They can't get any traction for taking a path. So they look at that as like, well, I'm a failure here, and they're not. It's just not suited for them. Totally. They take a step back and say, I do think I could be successful in doing a business. They can reroute themselves back there and say, hey, I've learned something over here. It didn't work for me, but I got to get on with my life and support myself, my family, whatever. So I'd like to take the general knowledge I have over here and maybe in business and combine it with a practical business that I'm going to do. And people have done that as well. and it is eligible, provided you're getting the true support. Now, another thing I think discourages counselors from being involved in this is it is complex. It's not where, hey, here you're approved and let me know what happens. They are required to maintain a position and communication with you during the evolution of your self-employment plan. They don't have to, I think they believe that they have to do a lot more than they do. I think that they're really a person that's a member of the team. And that team could be a score counselor, a third-party counselor, someone who does outside training, and then you have this holistic team that's helping this particular veteran to get into business. They just need to stay involved and be part of that team for a year. They're not the whole team. At the beginning, they're the whole team. Then they have to kind of let themselves be part of it and make suggestions. I've gotten some of the cases I've been involved with, the counselors are great. They basically, everything in life is relationship oriented. And
right.
They can direct you to relationships in their particular markets that can really help accelerate your business. The way I look at things is there's really not that much new in any business in the world. It's really, I'm selling a product or a service, and at the end of the day, I have to get people into relationships. They're going to help me do that, whether I'm selling it, planning it, administrating it, producing it. It's all relationships. So that relationship that you have with the VRE counselor, it's really up to you and to how you use it. If they shut you down, then you maybe have to take a different approach to it. And entrepreneurs aren't supposed to be, easily discouraged.
Yeah, for sure.
If you are easily discouraged or you're not an entrepreneur, it's probably not going to be your cup of tea. But
right.
If you are really an entrepreneur, you're going to just keep coming. And as long as you can maintain your frustration level, people will support you. So and another thing I guess I should say about this is it's not, people call me up and say, where's my grant? This is not
right.
This is not a grant. This is not a giveaway. This is a piece of a pie that can help you build a business.
Right.
So look at it that way as here's what I'm doing over here. At the same time, that counselor or that program is looking for you. What are you going to do? How are you at risk? How are you going to educate yourself create some benchmarks? Because it's not just about me approving you at one point in time. It's about you actually following through with the plan, so I can see, hey, I made some, or maybe even, sometimes it's not about, giving you everything you want on day one. Sometimes it's about, here, you go through this specific training, or you do this test, or you try and go raise some capital. And if you do that, then we're into phase 2. Then we're into we did a beta test, then we did a launch. And some of the people, like in my case, I'm helping some people structure their businesses as though eventually they're going to be franchised. They're going to own this business and they're going to work their tail off making it the best business in that particular area. And if it is, other people will look at it and say, wow, that makes money. I like that. Can I work with you? Can I partner with you, or will you sell me a franchise?
Yeah,
so
that's
you
awesome.
can step it all the way up. And there are other, I think, aspects to that you and I have been involved in. Both of us have participated in the entrepreneurial boot camp for veterans with disabilities.
Yes.
Again, there's relationships there. There are resources that people really don't know that are underneath for legal and patents and thing like that. That can be incorporated into the VRE plan.
Right.
That's an awesome piece of it. So you say, I'm going to go this route. I'm going to do this particular boot camp, or there's a Patriot boot camp where it helps you raise equity for larger businesses. You can use the VRE program to stitch all those things together.
That is awesome.
So that's kind of the big picture on it.
Yeah.
And there's I should emphasize that the capital side of this can be done. Like I know of a veteran who had a used car and a credit rating of between 650 and 700. So it was not great, but was okay.
Right.
And they were able to develop a business through VRE that patched together $75,000 worth of resources, and they've made money off of it.
I love hearing stories about vets just doing well. That's awesome that he was able to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's about it. And I think, any of your viewers or whatever, I am a resource that can come through you or come through me, and we can do plenty more things for vets.
Yeah, I really appreciate your time today, Jim. And just real quick, just wrapping up, if another vet wanted, especially in the you're just a wealth of knowledge. Anything business related you want to know and has something to do with the government, the VA, go to Jim. Jim knows exactly. He probably at least can get you or point you in the direction. But if someone needs to get in touch with you, Jim, how do they reach you? Where can they find you?
Well, they can find me. We have a website called veteranbusinessservices.us. And there are connections there from contact forms. Or if they are a qualified vet, they can call me at 202-631-4333.
Say that again one more time, Jim.
202-631-4333.
Beautiful. Well, awesome, Jim. I appreciate your time, sir. And anything we can do for you or anything you need from us right now?
Not at all. I'm going to have a good day. You have a good day too.
You too, Jim. Thank you, sir.